And welcome back to another episode of Across the Board. It's our fourth episode now. Um, yeah, we actually have four sports we're going to cover today. So, yeah, let's jump right into it.
All right, we're going to start with some MLB signings. Joan Oviedo going from the Pirates to the Red Sox.
Mhm.
I'm going to try and not botch this name. But Justinio Garcia going from the Red Sox to the Pirates. Henry
Mhm.
Ford is going from the Mariners to the Nationals. Steven Matz is going from the Red Sox to the Rays. Vaughn Grissom is going from the Red Sox to the Angels.
Mhm.
Gregory Soto is going from the Mets to the Pirates. Mike Strumster is going from the Royals to the Braves. Edwin Diaz is going from the Mets to the Dodgers. Pete
Big one
Alonso,
there.
the Mets to the Orioles. Orioles.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And then
Like
Robert
that.
Suarez is going from the Padres to the Braves.
Yeah, good one there. Like that pickup for the Braves.
And that's what we got for the
And
MLB
Pete
signing.
Alonso going from the Mets to the Orioles. That's
That was
an
a big deal
interesting move.
yesterday.
I know. I didn't think he would leave the Mets, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
And then Edwin Diaz from the Mets to the Dodgers is big as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Dodgers should pick up everybody sometimes.
Can't really be too surprised about that.
No. And Suarez should be good for the Braves. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we're going to NHL, and I'll bring up the NHL standings here. Try to get some look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you wanted to mention a couple things about that. So here's your standings for this, and then I will move it down when we talk about it.
So, I mean, obviously, we'll start in the Atlantic. Detroit takes the lead in the Atlantic, 37 points in 31 games on a three-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, the East is just always something to look out for. It's going to be something to look out for obviously the rest of the season, as tight as the race
Yep.
is. But Detroit's playing good hockey, and it's nice to see them up top here in the Atlantic. Then we get to Tampa. Tampa had a little skid recently, but I mean, he's playing good hockey, especially from the start of the season. Started off very slow, but John Cooper got that team turned around fast. And then Boston right behind them. Again, they're an interesting team to see going forward. Obviously, had the third spot in the Atlantic, but obviously in one game that all could change. Um,
Sure.
we'll see kind of what they got going on there with Jerry Swayman and Pasternak, and we'll see what happens. But on a three-game win streak currently, so playing good hockey as of right now. We'll go to the Metropolitan. Washington playing well. Logan Thompson playing great as well. Tom Wilson, bunch of guys playing well. So not surprised to see them where they are. Carolina uh, playing good hockey as well. Not surprised. I mean, there's really no surprise there. Playing good hockey, doing what they usually do, what it seems like they've been doing for the past few years. So not surprised at all. New York playing really good hockey. The Islanders been playing really well over these past few weeks. Um, they've gotten hot. They've played well. Going to be a fun team to watch. Um, I'd expect great things for this team, and we'll see if they can sneak on in there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll flip to Pittsburgh. Again, I talked about it last time, having a great season. Um, the turnaround they've been able to have, and they're doing with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, playing good hockey, uh, and definitely excited to see what they can do this year. Obviously, have the first in the wild card, but the thing to keep in mind with the East race, there's going to be a lot of flipping and flopping week in and week out. So I mean, in the blink of an eye, a lot of these teams can change. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. Um, Flyers playing great hockey. Obviously 7-3-0 in their last 10. Uh, they're playing well right now. They're playing good hockey. Things got turned around fast there. So excited to see they take on Vegas tonight. So, playing good hockey as they have recently.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey hit a little bit of a skid. I think they got to the point where they lost 4 straight. But I expect that team to get turned around. Obviously, got to win another day, and they've been playing really well. But definitely something to see if they can get it turned around. The Rangers have dropped 3 in a row. Definitely had the skid on home ice to start this season. Uh, Obviously, as you see, their home record 3-8-3 at home. Not playing great at home. But Panarin, not Sorokin, Shesterkin, and Zibanejad, I expect this team to get turned around, and we'll see if they can make a push for the playoff spot. Montreal have dropped their last 2. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Nothing much to really say here. Again, it's going to be a tight race in the East with a lot of these teams going forward. I mean, the rest of the list is going to be a tight race. I think when you look at the bottom here, wait, go back up. You're good. I think the big talk right now is Florida. Florida's got 3 wins in a row, though. They're starting to get things turned around. And they were definitely a little bit of a team of concern doing what they were doing. Obviously, with Nuke and Chuck in the lineup, they weren't playing well and weren't playing bad. They just weren't winning games. But they got 3 in a row, so we're hoping to see a turnaround. And then Toronto, Matthews back in the lineup. That team got turned around, and we'll see if they can make a push to the playoffs.
Yeah. Move on to the West.
So talking about the West here, obviously Colorado's still where they're at. 2 regulation losses this season. They've been playing well. They did suffer an overtime, I believe it was a shootout loss actually to the Predators the other night. But still playing good hockey, and definitely going to be a Stanley Cup contender this year. But going down to a team that hasn't really been talked about much, if any. Obviously, the big talk's been about Colorado, but Dallas is only 2 points behind them, and of course they are 1 game ahead, but only 2 points back. Dallas has played well this year, kind of snuck under the radar. I feel like at least they haven't been talked about much. They've obviously got 4 wins in a row. They're playing some good hockey. Definitely gonna be excited to see what they can do, this season and going forward. Minnesota winning games, doing what they've been doing. Obviously 7-2-1 in their last 10. Dallas 8-0-2 in their last 10. Colorado, of course, 7-1-2. But that top region Central been playing good this past week and a half, couple weeks. So they've been playing well and doing good things. Going down the Pacific Division, Anaheim still holding their lead as first in the Pacific, and they've got 3 in a row. I think the big question was if they're going to maintain where they were. I think a lot of people at first were like, this is a hot start, but will they be able to maintain it? And I think they've kind of proven that they'll be able to maintain that. So I think for them, we could see them in the playoffs and possibly make a run. Again, a young team, Leo Carlson, but they've also got some veterans and Chris Kreider, and of course Logan Dostal in net. So a lot of things to be happy of for Anaheim. Vegas seems to have got things back on track. 5-2-3 in their last 10. Carter Hart got his first win with Vegas in his first start. He's not going to play tonight. They're playing the Flyers, which would be his return back to Philadelphia. But I mean, on Vegas, I think you kind of felt the energy when Carter Hart entered the lineup after that game. There just seemed to be a little bit of a jump in their play. So I think that's a huge thing for them as they've gotten ahead and they've been playing better. The Kings, 4-2-4 in their last 10. They took a devastating OT loss last night to the Kraken, but they're playing good hockey still. Darcy Kemper, got Forsberg playing good in net. Adrian Kempe. it's a good group of guys. I think we'll see them in the Pacific Division, stay in their spot, and I think we'll definitely see them in the playoffs. And then obviously kind of go to the wild card where things get interesting. Going down, you got Chicago, and what Bedard's done to Spencer Knight with his team. I mean, again, really young team. I think that they're another question: are they going to make the playoffs? I don't feel like the expectation was really, make the playoffs, but they're playing well right now and proving that they have a chance to get there. So I think it's going to be something to see going forward. And the big talk with Edmonton seems like they've gotten things turned around. Obviously, when we did the stress meter, we talked about, Edmonton was one of my teams I was concerned about. Last year they had a rough start and got it turned around, but this year felt different. Seems like they've got a jump in that locker room and things are getting turned around in Edmonton. So I think it's gonna be something exciting to see if they can get that turned around and start playing, good like they have been. That's something to pay attention to. A couple of teams on this list, need to talk about. First, start off with Winnipeg. Since Connor Hellebuck not being in the lineup, I mean, it's been a disaster. 2-7-1 in their last 10, lost 2 straight. Just not really lively there in Winnipeg. Had a decent start to the season, and since Connor Hellebuck's left the lineup, it hasn't been the same. Obviously, he's the one not scoring goals, but I think a really good top goalie. I feel like he's kind of the anchor for that team. He's that leader. And him not being there, you can just tell has had a big impact on that team. So we'll see when he's able to get back and see if they can make a push. Of course, only 3 spots back out of the wild card spot, so definitely not out of it by any means. And a lot of season left. But that's something to see if they can get that turned around. And the next team we'll talk about is right above them, Seattle. Seattle had dropped 6 straight before getting a huge win last night against the Kings. I mean, huge win for them. Kings went up 2-1 with 3:30 left, around like 4 minutes left in the game. And Seattle scored a late goal. Matty Bernier scored a late goal with 25 seconds left, and it going overtime, and they get the big win that they needed. And I think that's a huge turnaround for them, a huge win that they needed to kind of get them off that 6-game skid. So we'll see what happens going forward. But again, this is a fun year to watch hockey. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things to see, especially in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right, so next thing we'll talk about is some college football. Had a little bit of interruption there. Sorry for the technical difficulty, but we are back, and we will go to our next topic now, and that is college football. We got a few things to talk about in college football, starting with a couple of head coaching jobs. We'll start with that one. Obviously, a big one yesterday was Sherrone Moore being fired. Supposedly some reports of inappropriate relationship with a staff member. It's always nice. Right? So interesting there. Supposedly they had known before signing day and just didn't want to fire him. I feel like it's kind of advertising for those recruits, but hey, we'll see how that goes over for them. And then afterwards, he was arrested not too long after he was actually fired on some assault charges and stuff. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know who's their head coach right now. Who's their interim? That they have said.
They didn't say anybody yet.
They haven't.
They have not said a word. So I think there's too much going on right now for them to even name somebody yet.
True. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that. They could have some problems there going forward. Obviously, transfer portal is a big one. Now, whoever goes there, that'll be opened in January here, and so that'll be interesting to know. But obviously, transfer portal for those actual guys on the team, they'll have 15 days to move on or stay if they want to. Obviously, whoever the new coach will be will want them to stay. There's a lot of talk about who the new coach will be. Kalen DeBoer is favored right now to go to beat that new head coach. I don't know about you, but I don't believe he will go from Alabama to Michigan.
I don't think so. I think he's going to stay there where he's at. I did see Jedd Fisch,
Mm-hmm.
the
And then
Washington. Kenny Dillingham, Jedd Fisch. Those are two names I've seen, and I think they can make a lot of sense.
I think Jedd Fisch makes the most sense if anybody does.
Yeah, I think some people brought up somebody, like a lot of people I've heard some people commenting or saying, like, Clark Lee or Mike Elko. I just don't think it's going to happen whatsoever.
I don't think any of those SEC guys are going to leave for Michigan.
Oh,
I just don't think
they all just signed extensions as well, so I just don't think they're going to leave that.
True. I also just don't think it's as appealing of a job as the SEC, as the job they're in right now.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe Kalen DeBoer moves on for absolutely no reason. Doubt it. But we'll see in the coming days, week, whatever it takes for them to get a new coach. They'll have to get one pretty soon, so they can move on with the rest of their stuff. Some other mentions you wanted to bring up. Well, some other mentions. UConn's Gordon Sammis is taking the job at TCU as the OC because TCU got rid of their OC. What was his name? TCU's OC was.
It was Kendall Briles.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so UConn's OC is going to go take that job. Should be just as good of an offense as TCU had last year. They had a good offense last year, and Briles is moving to South Carolina, where South Carolina fired their OC this last season. Should be interesting to see what he can do with Lenore Sellers, and then see. It'll be interesting what UConn's OC can do at TCU because obviously, like I said, they had a great offense last year. Can they have another offense with a new OC that's just as good or even better? UConn's offense was pretty good this year, so it'll be interesting to see there. So just a couple of coaching things that we wanted to bring up there, and then moving on to we wanted to talk about the teams. Obviously, bowl games are coming up starting this Saturday. Boise State and Washington are playing the first actual bowl game. Obviously, Army Navy's playing Saturday too. But with bowls coming up, we wanted to talk about some of the teams that have declined bowl games. 3 of them being in bowl games, 7 of them being not in a bowl game, being 5 and 7 team and declining it. So 10 teams in total declining bowl games this year. Something that happened once last year with Marshall because they didn't have an actual full roster to participate in the bowl game because that's when their head coach moved on to Southern Miss and they all followed him. This year, just seen a lot of teams not wanting to play, not wanting to participate for different reasons. Notre Dame, obviously, not wanting to participate because they didn't get into the playoff picture. They had a chance to go play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Best bowl there is. I don't really know why you'd say no to that. And they decided not to. They wanted to be in the CFP. Ended up not being, and they said, yeah, we're going to move on. I don't know about you, but I don't like the decision, especially coming from Notre Dame.
No, not at all. I mean, it's kind of petty, if I'm being completely honest with you. I mean, I think you not wanting to play, I feel like I guess just an ego thing, but I feel like, you want to prove a point and make your point like, hey, we should have been in that playoff. I think you take the game and do that. Like I said, I think it's kind of petty to do that with what they did. And I think even worse, they get their way with this, don't know what the term is. What they, yeah.
The new one,
Yeah, I think then you end up getting away with that. With if you're in the top 12, you automatically get a spot. I mean, I don't agree with that. Obviously, we talked about that Monday, and we don't have to get into it too much now. But popping up with that, a lot of coaches have declined, or a lot of schedulers. I mean, they declined putting Notre Dame on.
I was just about to say a lot of ADs have been calling Notre Dame and saying they don't want to play them because of this. They don't think it's fair.
It's not. I mean, you can't get a freebie. I mean, it's not necessarily free. I mean, you obviously have to play your way into the playoffs, but you just automatically get your spot. I mean, because think about this year, there's teams that will get booted out because there were teams that get booted out because you get your spot.
Yeah.
Um, I just think that's not fair in that sense. But kind of going back to the bowl games, it's just kind of petty to not play. And I think, like I said, I think again, I heard somebody say, and I think it's true. Playing football is a privilege. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can just it's not. I think it's just a privilege that you get to play.
Yeah.
You should take the opportunity to play. Um, and of course, the big discussion being, should there be penalties and fines for not wanting to play? Obviously, you look in the Big 12, Iowa State and Kansas State got handed the $500,000 fine for
Yeah.
not wanting to play.
And they're playing because they didn't have a head coach. They just got rid of their head coach. Obviously, Iowa State and Kansas State moving on from both their head coaches and have new guys coming in and wanted to prepare those new guys and not force them into their OC or whoever to coach in a bowl game. Or so for them it's a little more of it makes more sense, I guess. I still think they obviously could have played in them, no problem. We've seen that happen millions of times, but it's a lot different for them to say no than Notre Dame saying no. When even I talked about it last week, I mentioned it that I talked in our last episode. Mentioned it. I thought Notre Dame would come out and just prove their point of why they should have been in the CFP and just
I think
played
that's okay.
BYU, and they could have just go and just beat the crap out of them in the Pop Tarts Bowl and say, hey, look, committee, we should have been in. At least that was my take. I thought Marcus Freeman would do that. I don't know whose call it is for them not playing. I don't know if that's the AD. I don't know if that's Marcus Freeman. I don't know if that's the players. I don't know. If it is the AD, I feel like it's not really fair to the players if they didn't have a say in that.
And then and again, the Big 12 commissioner took a shot at him this week. I
Yeah.
mean, the Big 12 commissioner took a shot at him. What he had said. But again, like playing football, obviously is a privilege,
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you think. Obviously, Iowa State, and Kansas State, they got fined, for not playing. I mean, they had reason not to.
And they had reason.
Notre Dame not playing. I mean, I feel like if you love football, I think it's always nice to have the opportunity to play again. And
Yeah.
you kind of just, we don't really want to play because we got left out. You know, I think it's just petty in my mind. But yeah, obviously, there could be reasons we don't know about. We don't know whose call it is. But
Yeah.
that's kind of just what I think about it.
No, for sure. I think the same thing. And I think especially a big name like Notre Dame, I mean, one of the teams that started college football in itself, like for a big program like that to say no, uh, it's kind of alarming to the years, moving forward. What does it look like? If a team like that, if a big program like Notre Dame says no to a bowl game because they don't make it to the playoffs, does that force other teams in the coming years to do the same? Or are they just going to be like, well, who cares? Are you going to be someone like Sarkisian at Texas, or Clark Lee at Vandy and go, hey, we're happy to be in these bowl games. We will play. It's an opportunity to play and we will do it. It's an opportunity for our players to show off even more of what their talent, what they can do, and show the committee why we should have been in. So, like, is that more of the push that will happen, or will it be more of a teams declining it because they don't get their way like Notre Dame? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see whether or not that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think look at it like this. I mean, if you're a senior, your last year of college, and you get declined the chance to play because you know, I mean, you don't get your chance to play because your AD or your coach just says, we're gonna decline the bowl game. I just kind of look at it like that.
Yeah, yeah. It does kind of feel bad for some of the players if they didn't have that choice to make. But again, obviously, we don't know the choice it was. We don't know if it was the AD, if it was Miss Freeman, if the players said they didn't want to play. It could have been
Yeah,
that. I don't know. I guess we'll see if anything comes out on who made that decision. But obviously, talking about other teams that didn't that declined bowl games, there's a lot of them. There's 7, 5, and 7 teams that declined it. Some of the notable names being FSU, Baylor, UCF, Auburn, and obviously 3 more there. And so it was interesting to see that they declined bowl games. And I feel like what I've seen is that most people are saying they declined bowl games because they kind of already sent their players into the off season and either didn't want to make them have to come back or weren't particularly doing like practices for games, so they weren't gonna change that schedule to get ready for a bowl game. So I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. I still feel like maybe they could have participated for sure, especially for a team that's 5-7. I feel like a lot of those teams would be like, hey, we can end our season on a good note, not a bad note. Because a lot of those teams end in losses. So like, you could go into that, but
I think the big question is going to be what what standards are going to be set for. Is there going to be any rules set on playing in the bowl game or not?
true.
Yeah, like obviously Big 12. I mean, they hand them Iowa State, Kansas State, $500,000 each. Does that go the same way going forward? Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's kind of something big to talk about. With teams being in bowl games. Because again, playing football is a privilege. So I feel like you take your opportunity to play, you'd want to go play.
I mean, I feel like
So,
you would, especially if you're a 5-7 team. FSU got blown out in their last game by Florida. Why wouldn't they want to go out and compete more time and potentially get a win and end their season 6-7 instead of 5-7?
right.
But again, if you're already in the off season, you're already doing off season training, or you sent players off into the off season. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you just don't want to have to make them come back. Obviously, I don't know what that looks like. So maybe that's the case. Maybe that's just hard for them to do, and they just decided, hey, we're not going to have to, force players to come back or make those decisions. Which fair enough if that's the case. But it's just interesting to look at all these teams saying no to bowl games and declining them or opting out of them or pulling out of them. It'll be really interesting to see. And I've heard a lot of people talk about it as like bowl games aren't really as important as they used to be. They're not as big. People don't really care so much about playing, especially in the smaller ones. Like things like the Pop Tarts Bowl and stuff like that, even though Notre Dame pulled out that one, those big games are New Year's Six games, but they were big. They were always big to get in. And some of the bigger bowl games again still are, and teams like Vandy or Texas are still, and a lot of other teams that are playing in are still happy to play in them. But we see more teams saying no to them just because we've already seen a lot of players over the past years say no to them for the draft or transfer portal or just opting out not to play because they don't want to get hurt, etc. There's a million reasons there that we've seen over the past couple of years, and I don't love that. I feel like if you're a player and you want to play or you want to show off, I get the whole not getting hurt thing, but at the same time, you can still play. You play every game with that in your back of your mind. It's always a chance you could get hurt. So
Yeah.
I feel like declining him for that reasons it's not the greatest, and we might see a lot of teams get obviously fined, like Kansas State and Iowa State, if that's the case. But at the same time, what do they mean for the upcoming years moving forward? What do teams look at the bowl games for?
Yeah, well, and again, like you talk about upcoming years. I mean, teams might get to the point where it's now like, what, we don't have to play in a bowl game. I feel like how our season went. We're gonna just kind of get ready for next season. We'll kind of just not play. I mean,
yeah,
if nothing's gonna be done about it, it's just gonna keep happening.
It will.
Yeah, I think bowl games they obviously lost their importance. It doesn't seem as a lot of teams want to play, and I think obviously we love bowl mania. It's just more football going on and on. I love seeing all the interesting matchups in general, just teams who don't play usually. But I think my big question is going to be what happens going forward. Are there going to be rules set in place for not wanting to play in bowl games, or are we going to just kind of go on the lines of, well, it doesn't matter, you make your choice, do what you want to do. But you would hate for the next year to continue with more teams not wanting to play.
Oh yeah, I feel like that would be a bad thing to happen to college football. Obviously, the fans love watching bowl games. It means we get to watch more football, for weeks to come, and almost every single day. or every other day, and so it's fun to watch those and see those interesting matchups, like you said. And I feel like if you're a team, you would want to see that as well. You know, you get to play a team you probably don't usually play, and you get to see how you go up against a different, scheme, a different offense, a different defense, or even a better team. It's just, I feel like teams would want to do that, but obviously we've seen a lot of them say no, and they're declining it or they're pulling out of them because of many of reasons. And so I don't know, maybe there should be in some incentive for teams to play in bowl games more, so maybe more teams want to and don't back out of them, or maybe like Iowa State and Kansas State, you see some fines coming in because conferences themselves don't want their teams pulling out of bowl games. I don't know. I think there's a lot of um, things that could be changed or could be set in place for teams that have to participate, or if they don't, they get fined this or they get, whatever. And so, yeah, especially teams like Notre Dame, you had every reason to go play and show off what you could do and how good of a team you are and prove the committee wrong. And they just said, no, we're not going to do that because we don't care to do that. We don't care to go play. We don't want to. I don't know what the reason is, but I don't like that. I think they should get a fine. If Kansas State and Iowa State got a fine because they didn't have a coach, then Notre Dame with a coach and a full roster and everybody ready and as good of a team as they were this year, they should get a fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something we'll just pay attention to going forward. Obviously, still back for this bowl season, a lot of great games. So,
for sure.
Can't wait for it.
Taking upon the bowl season, there's still a ton of them, and there's still a ton of them to watch. Even starting this weekend. Obviously, Army Navy starts this weekend, but Bowl Mania starts this weekend with Boise State and Washington. That'll be an interesting matchup. One of the interesting matchups that we get in the season. You get to watch something like that,
Yeah, so can't wait, man.
So
hopefully we'll see how it goes going forward if anything comes into place.
For sure. Well, moving on from CFB, we want to talk about some NFL. We haven't really talked about much NFL over the past 3 episodes, and there's been a lot that has happened in the NFL, and so we kind of just want to cover some of it, specifically playoff and some news of people coming back and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll jump right in there with. Actually, we'll bring up the news of basically of the week so far. Is the Colts, obviously Daniel Jones on Sunday got hurt towards Achilles, already was playing on a broken foot. Probably was the reason he then tore his Achilles. But tore his Achilles, got out. Riley Leonard got put in, played that game, but he suffered a knee injury during that game. And if you know anything about the Colts, they were already without their backup quarterback, Richardson. So the Colts, first quarterback's out, starting quarterback's out, the second string quarterback's out. The third string quarterback is questionable from this Sunday. So they're like, well, we have, I think it was Blake Ripon on the practice squad, and they could have brought him up, or they're like, well, we go get somebody else. So they did, and they didn't just get anybody. There was a lot of people they could have gotten, but they decided to go back to their old quarterback and go, we're going to go get Phillip Rivers. Interesting. Pulled the man right out of retirement and coaching at a high school to say, hey, you want to come play quarterback for us this Sunday? So, just the other day, a couple days ago, he got signed to their practice squad. He's been playing with their practice squad. I don't think he's been officially announced into their 52-man roster yet. I'm pretty sure he's still on the practice squad. And again, Riley Leonard's still questionable. It's not that he's completely out to play Sunday. He could play Sunday. But Phillip Rivers is there just in case they need to play. He knows the scheme. That's why they said they brought him back. Hasn't played in 5 years. Retired in 2020, and also just kind of the semifinalist for the Hall of Fame last week. So, or earlier this week. So, a big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, definitely surprised to see that. Last thing I expected, and Cam Newton had some words for it too.
He did.
He said he definitely would have played if he got the call.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting because you had some people out there that you could have picked up a couple of names out there: Kyle Trask, Desmond Ritter, obviously Cam Newton, or you even had a couple of guys that were kind of closer to when they had retired and not so far away. So interesting to see.
Definitely. So that was definitely interesting. I think the big thing though that we're ready to talk about is obviously the playoff picture with obviously with Daniel Jones with the quarterback situation, the playoff chance for Indianapolis has dropped, and the big surprise being the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-7 season. Definitely something that has almost been surprising to even see. What seemed like last year, every bounce, everything went their way. This year, not so much. And now I think they got a tough schedule to close out their season. So, if they want to get to a playoff spot, they're going to have to. Feels like almost win out.
Yeah, and I think they play Seattle this weekend. Is that who they play? Or Denver? Or who was it?
Honestly, I'm about to find out.
Here, I'll look real quick. They play. Let's see. They play Seattle this weekend on Sunday,
Boy.
so that won't be going up against one of the better defenses in the NFL. So that'll be tough for them, especially tough for Philip Rivers to come into. But hey, Philip Rivers is a veteran quarterback, really veteran, but he is a veteran quarterback. So he knows what he's doing somewhat. But also other news is if he does get onto the 52-man roster, his Hall of Fame eligibility, he won't be able to get into Hall of Fame this year. He'll have to wait till 2031 to get in.
Ooh.
He did say, though, in his presser yesterday that did not matter for him. That wasn't really a decision that he had made to care about that. So he decided just to, sign with the team and play with them. And if they need him, they need him. If not, then so be it. He'll be there just in case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are we able to get that playoff picture up?
Oh yeah. We'll talk about the playoff standings here and what they look like going into this week. It is a big one, big last week for some teams and their playoff hopes. And yeah, here's the playoff picture for the AFC. Some teams at the top here. Obviously, Denver's been playing great this year. New England is the big team that's been playing great. Sorry about the click. New England's obviously the team to talk about this year with Drake May leading them, and Denver getting away with all their close games. So that's the big deal for Denver. And then Jacksonville right there just got a big win over the Colts this last week to put them to 9 wins. And Pittsburgh getting a big win over the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. That was a big one for them.
Yeah, Los Angeles getting a win on Monday night.
How many turn? I think there were like 7 turnovers in that game.
Legitimately. Yeah. Obviously, you see here that Pittsburgh is leading their division, which is really weird to see at 7-6. And usually, what is a great division is not so great this year. No. And so it would be interesting to see. Obviously, beating Baltimore has them a game ahead. Would have been in first in the division if they would have won on Sunday. Didn't. Buffalo's still sitting there 9-4. The Houston Texans, they've been hot. They've been playing.
They've got really hot. That defense has been outstanding.
Yeah, and their offense has finally kicked it up a little bit. So it's been big for them to be able to get everything rolling and going for them. Had a big win this last weekend over the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going in the wrong direction. Way wrong direction. This loss this week puts them even further out of the playoffs, obviously now in the 10th seed. And we'll have to win out to have a chance. I think their chances went to, I believe, 16% or 13% to make the playoffs, something like that. If they would have won this weekend, it would have gone to 40%. But it's going to be a tough road for them.
I mean, they're probably going to have to win out if they want to get back into the playoff race.
Yeah, and they don't have the easiest of schedules either. So that'll be interesting to see. I think they have to play the Texans again, I believe. Did they?
No, that's not right. That's Indianapolis.
Maybe they just. I'm trying to. There's some other team that had to play. Yeah. But then some teams to look at. Miami's still in the chase. They've won 4 in a row now, I believe.
Yeah. No, they've been getting.
Yeah. So big for them. They're still in it. Dolphins fans are looking at the 6 and 7 as the greatest thing on the earth. Kansas City Chiefs fans looking at the 6 and 7 as the worst thing on the earth. So a little bit different in the same spot, basically. Obviously, Kansas City Chiefs have the tiebreaker over Miami right now, but if Miami can win out, then that might change. Obviously, Baltimore's still trying to make the playoff spot, like we were talking about. Lamar Jackson hasn't been great. He's kind of been lackluster this year, not showing that MVP status that everybody knows him for. So we'll see if they can get it turned around. Obviously, Derrick Henry hasn't had his best year either, so kind of tough for their offense in general. And then obviously,
they struggled early on too.
Yeah.
Early on, their defense, they had a massive defensive struggle, but the defense has kind of buckled down a little bit and started to play better. So we'll see if they can piece it all together.
Yeah, for sure. And then you see some teams at the bottom here. The only team not eliminated yet is Cincinnati, which is kind of surprising, but technically they still have a chance with their division being so bad. They got Joe Burrow back. He looked great 2 weeks ago, and then this last week they had a great game. Their offense has been amazing with Joe Burrow back and played a close game against Buffalo, but ended up losing that game. They were up by 2 scores or something at one point during that game. Thought they were going to kind of run away with it, and then Buffalo came back. So good for them. Good to see them playing some great football. Glad to see Joe Burrow back and healthy. Always fun to watch him throw football. And then some teams already eliminated, obviously. The Jets, Browns, Raiders, and Titans. I know you're not too happy with the Raiders, but bad year for all those teams.
You can only ask for so much.
True. Cleveland's kind of on the uprise, though. Shedeur has obviously been starting for them. He was named starting quarterback. Yeah, he's been named starting quarterback for the rest of the season, so that's good for Browns fans. We'll see where that goes or where that takes them. He played great this last week, and had 350 yards, but they still lost. Browns football for you. Yeah. So that's the playoff picture for the AFC. Let's now move on down to the NFC here, where the race is quite interesting. A lot of good teams here, a lot of good teams playing some great football. Obviously, at the top is the Rams. They've been playing amazing football. Matthew Stafford at an MVP level. Probably should or might win MVP this year. I won't say should. Jonathan Taylor's been playing great for the Colts. But great football for the Rams. They've been playing amazing. We'll see where that takes them, how far that takes them. And then Green Bay sitting right there in second. A great win this last weekend. Amazing game with the Chicago Bears. That was a fun one to watch. They pulled it out. Chicago, obviously, Caleb Williams throwing the interception on the last play of the game. Had a chance. Were driving down the field and turned it over. So not great for the Chicago, but they're still sitting in a great place. Philly right there this weekend, man. Philly's been an interesting team.
They've been struggling this year. I mean, they just have down the stretch. I mean, just recently, they've been struggling big time.
Yeah, Philly needs to get it kind of together. They had some struggles. Obviously, 8-5. Team's not really looking like the Super Bowl team from last year, even though they really haven't lost any guys. Nothing too changed from them, but their offense has been terrible.
But look, play the Raiders this week, so hopefully that they should be able to get turned around.
Get a win.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, Philly, obviously, you need to get it turned around. Their offense seems to be playing better. Saquon, well, specifically, Jalen Hurts needs to get it together. His 4 turnovers or 5 turnovers?
It was so many. There were so many.
I think it was 5, and he turned the ball over twice on one play. So first time that's happened since I think like 1954 or something, some insane year. So yeah, he's got to play better football if they want to have a chance to go back to the Super Bowl this year. Tampa Bay obviously winning their division right now at 7-6. The East is quite bad, or the South is quite bad. Not gonna lie. Yeah, not too great, but they are winning it. Carolina's still in that race. Obviously, they can still win the division. They have everything in front of them still. Seattle sitting right behind Tampa Bay there at 10-3. Great year for them. They've been looking amazing. Sam Darnold, I mean, looking just as good as he was last year. And then obviously JSN having an amazing season for them. So we'll see how far they can take them. They're looking like one of the better teams they've had. San Francisco sitting right there at 6. Interesting team as well. Let's see. And then Chicago sitting right behind them. Again, tough loss this week, but playing great football. So not much bad to look for them. San Francisco didn't really mention too much about them, but they've been looking great. Christian McCaffrey still having a great year receiving, not so much rushing, but he's caught a lot of passes, has a lot of receiving yards. So that's kind of what's propelling them forward. And with getting Brock Purdy back a few weeks ago, he's looking great. Chicago, obviously, the running game's amazing. Passing game is iffy at points, especially this last week. Obviously, they were playing in the snow. It was really cold. I don't know if it was actually snowing, just cold. And they were playing the Packers, which great team. So passing game didn't look great. Caleb Williams obviously turning over the ball on the last play, throwing interception. But he's looked good this year. He's played great. And then Detroit sitting right behind them at 8-5. Goff needs to kind of have a more, I don't know, he's been up and down. He's been good or great at some points, and he's been really lackluster or bad. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with them. Obviously, still in it. They've got nothing to lose. Carolina, again, mentioned them just a minute ago at 7-6, still can win the division over the Buccaneers. Rico Dowdle was playing great this year. I don't know what he's had, 200 over 200 rushing yards games this year, so great for them. Dallas sitting right behind them at 6-6. They still have a chance for the division, technically. They've been playing better football as of recent. Dak Prescott's been looking great. Honestly, hasn't been playing bad all season. People just kind of hate on him for, I don't know, not much of a reason, but they do. And then Minnesota sitting right behind them, still not actually eliminated from playoffs, but pretty close.
They're not spring.
Yeah. They've been terrible. I'm just gonna put it, plain and simple. McCarthy hasn't really been what they've wanted. It's been a problem. So we'll see what happens with them the rest of the season. Probably not going to make the playoffs, but we'll see. And then some teams that have been eliminated already, obviously, the Falcons, not too great. Bijan Robinson is the best thing on their team. Michael Penix has got to get better. Cardinals, we'll see what happens with them. Kyler Murray will probably leave. Don't know yet. I don't know. I would imagine he would be traded somewhere else. He wasn't great when he did play this season, but obviously injuries have taken him out of the games. The Saints at 3-10 as well. Been terrible. Plain and simple. Have been bad. People say that Tyler Shuck is the next franchise quarterback. Don't know if I believe that. Hey, we'll see what happens. As a Saints fan, haven't had too much good to watch since Drew Brees has left. So hopefully we just get back to being able to watch some good football. And then Washington Commanders sitting there at 3-10 as well, and the Giants at 2-11. Washington did get Jay Daniels back. Honestly, think he probably shouldn't play for the rest of the season because he's had injuries. Don't want to get him injured again. If I'm the Commanders, at least that's my thing. That's my thought in that. He didn't look great this last weekend. Didn't look bad, but at this point, there's no hope. So I wouldn't really start him. And then the New York Giants, obviously losing Scadaboo early didn't help at all. They have gone downhill since then. Jackson Dartson hasn't been terrible, but again, lackluster for them. They had high hopes at the beginning of the season, playing some close games and some good teams. So, that's pretty much the NFL playoff picture. Anything else you wanted to bring up about that?
Other for me, I think in my prediction, I mean, you kind of look at it right now. I mean, I think the Rams are title Super Bowl contenders. We'll kind of see how the season goes, man. I think Houston's getting really hot right now, and I think they're going to be exciting to watch.
True. Good teams to look for there. Great games this weekend. Some good ones. And a lot to pay attention to in the NFL. A lot of close standings. So that's pretty much all we've got today. And I know we'll see y'all again on Monday. We'll talk about a lot of college basketball. That's for sure. Got a lot to talk about. A couple of bowl games that happened this weekend. We can talk about that as well. I bet CFB news will be all over the place, just like every single week it is. So probably have more to talk about that way. A couple of good games that happened Tuesday for CBB that we'll be talking about for sure. So, anything else you wanted to mention before we sign off here?
I kind of forgot to mention. I kind of just skimmed over it. But kind of going back to the NHL actually with the playoff. One thing to keep in mind, something to keep in the back of your head. A big question. I didn't get to talk about it because I kind of missed the team. But Vancouver. The big question is where's going to be Quinn Hughes' next destination? I think it's something to look out for very soon. And Quinn Hughes could be leaving Vancouver soon. And something to pay attention to for sure. So I think it's something to keep in mind. That guy could very well be on his way soon. I've obviously heard a few different teams. New Jersey, I've heard Detroit from some people, but we won't know for sure. But that's definitely something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, for sure. Good news to mention there. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else we have to mention. I think that's all. If not, we'll make a video. We'll cover it. We'll put it on TikTok or Instagram. We will make sure to put that out there if something comes out. So we'll see you on Monday.
Yes, we will.